Dear viewers, welcome to this GECO Ammunition 2022 live stream live from IWA 2022 here from Nuremberg, Germany. Today with me is Lewis from the GECO shooting team. Lewis, thank you so much for your time to be here.
Thanks for having me.
So for those viewers who do not know about GECO, we are going to go into the brand. We are going to highlight the sport aspects of the brand, your engagement in the shooting sport and the fast shooting sport, I must say. And also we are going to go a little bit into the products themselves. But before we kick off the show, I'd like to ask everyone, how does it feel to be finally back at IWA?
It feels great. Finally back after, I think, 3 years now.
3 years of downtime.
3 years of waiting, meeting friends, new friends, and just get involved back again with the sport. And
people are positive. You also
Yeah.
have a fan base. We get to this in a moment. For those viewers, those few viewers, I might say, who have never heard about the brand of GECO Ammunition, please be advised that GECO has been around for already more than 130 years, initially founded in 1887 by Günter Genscher, as with the formal focus, but also today, of quality hunting and sport shooting products, but, and that's the kicker, at a fair price, which actually is in direct connection to you because you are among the, or you are participating in a short that can be counted as the fastest shooting sport ever, which is IPSC.
yeah, I am. Especially the price matters in IPSC shooting because when you're training a lot, you get like those high counts of bullets you run through in your training. And
Why is that important? Why is it important to have a high round count for training?
just to get like a good feeling with your weapon, the muscle memory is important to hit your target, especially.
More rounds means more repetitions.
Yeah.
More repetitions means, well, deeper muscle memory, I assume.
Yeah, especially in IPSC, it's like important to train a lot of different things because in the competition you don't really know what kind of stage waits for you, and yeah, so.
So for those who have never heard of IPSC, what is this sport actually all about?
Basically, just having fun.
And it's about, I guess, its speed maybe?
Yeah. So there are three main things in IPSC you need: it's speed, accuracy, and power. So
accuracy and
because
power.
it's a sport, a shooting sport with a lot of movement, you need good health, like cardio and stuff matters a lot.
You need to be fit and sportive.
Yeah, to keep your blood pressure low. Yeah, and just the shooting.
So let's focus a bit more on the shooting part, but also, just because you told me, and I think that's an interesting story to tell, you have been involved with the brand GECO actually for a long time.
Yeah, it's
and
5 years now.
5 years,
Yeah.
because you actually used to work in that field? You used to work for the brand, or how did you actually manage to get
So-
a spot on the team?
I came in contact with the brand because of my shooting, my sport shooting. So at my first European Championship, IPSC, like I had a really good run, and Gecco was sponsoring the ammunition in Hungary back then. And yeah, we just talked to the guys from Gecco, and they said, "Yeah, you're a young shooter, a good young shooter, and we also want somebody like you in our team." And half a year later, on the IWA, I had my first contract, and now I'm studying mechanical engineering, and did an internship in the research and development here in Fürth.
So you are involved with the brand. Louis, I want to mention it because I think it's just an exceptional piece of information considering your young age. When did you actually start shooting?
So I started shooting in the age of 13. So the main part of that was because of my dad. He's also a sport shooter. So, gun laws and stuff, it's not easy to get into shooting.
You're basically not allowed to shoot anything at 13.
Yeah, so at the age of 13, I've got like a special piece of paper where it's written I'm allowed because I'm a good shooter from like air shooting. And yeah, so at this age, I was allowed to shoot .22 here in Germany.
Which is a huge exception. You must be really what kind of a talent to
Yeah.
actually get this exception to do that officially,
Yeah,
right?
it gave me a pretty good head start.
I believe so.
So, and the good part about living in here in Bavaria is the borders from Czech Republic and Austria are pretty close. So, and back then I was allowed to shoot their competitions with my normal caliber, so 9mm or 38 Super Auto.
That's incredible already.
So, yeah.
How did you? What was the first competitions look like that you shot at at this young age? Because I believe competition means stress. Stress means to be you're usually bound to take care of stress easier once you've matured a bit, but you were still pretty young.
Yeah.
So how did
I-
you go about this?
I remember my first stage I ever shot at a IPSC competition, and it was a weekend only. So sometimes, normally you use both your hands, but sometimes there are stages where you're only allowed to use your weekend. Or
What's your weekend, right or
my
left?
left one.
Okay.
And imagine a 13-year-old boy with an open IPC guns or the big IPC guns with the red dot, and weekend only.
How did you do?
Yeah, I trained a lot before, so I was prepared.
So you were able to pull your end of the rope. How did the other people look? Did they ever see anything comparable? Probably not.
No, it's even in Austria or Czech Republic, it's not that often that you see young guys shooting because it's also an expensive sport. So you need the support of your parents, and yeah,
I want to.
they loved it. And good friends of mine now all, so they all remember the old times and said, back then you were just like this height, and now you're grown.
Well, you were back then. You were like 13 years old, this height, and you already went alpha, 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 alpha. So
I try to.
So I want to rewind this and hook into the monetary aspect of the of things. All right, shooting is an expensive sport.
Yeah.
At least in Europe, it is. Anyone who says it's otherwise, he's a liar.
Or-
No, I'm just kidding.
Or he's not shooting enough.
Or he's not shooting enough. So how does Gecco actually enable young people, maybe not as young as you were when you started, but still young, or beginning shooters, to how does the brand enable you to get a lot of reps in? How does it support you?
So since my sponsorship started back in, I think it was 2018, I just got the material to train more, and all the ammunition, and it was just easier for me, and I was allowed to just focus on my training and really train what I need to train, and don't it's too expensive because of the high rounds count or stuff like this. So
How high is the round count in a typical training scenario? What is it? Is it 50, 100, 500? What is it?
it really depends what you're training. So maybe you're training more high distance this week, so maybe just 300 rounds.
Lower, but still 300 rounds, right?
Still some, and if you're going full power, full speed, then it's maybe 1,000 in a week. So
1,000 a week, that's already
that's a lot.
a lot to handle. I want to get into, for those people who don't know, Gecco is really a strongly structured brand. You guys have about, I think, 5 bullets when it comes to hunting, but when it comes to sport shooting, this brand is an entirely different animal. You have bullets for anything: rimfire, centerfire, air gun pellets, shotgun pellets, pistol, revolvers, you name it.
Everything.
So the brand has got you covered. But let's put them in focus. What are the brands, what are the types of ammo that you actually actively yourself engage in?
So the basic bullet I think everybody uses the most is like the 9mm, 124 grain, full metal jacket, so
Standard?
pretty good ammunition. Even for competition ready ammunition.
Okay.
Then there's the new DTX line with 115 grain, so good for training. It's less expensive, but still runs in your competition guns.
All right.
Yeah.
What is the difference between, because you highlighted competition guns. So what are the calibers you actually shoot?
So I'm shooting 9mm and 38 Super Auto. Especially in my open gun, I use 38 Super Auto because of the extra space in my brass I need for the powder to get the gas pressure I need. So that's pretty important.
So the last thing I want to ask you is, obviously, by the way, for those people who do not know, you are on the cover of the sports shooting catalog. I believe you're also in the background, so you're a very special cat around around the Gecco brand. So last thing, as we were talking about pistols, we were talking earlier about rifles. Do you have any engagement in rifle shooting? Do you have any aspiration to become a rifle shooter, maybe?
So I'm a pistol shooting guy. So I grew up with pistols. It's part of the things my dad did, and also the place where I can train. But in the last few years, I really get the interest into rifles, and I've got an AR-15 like rifle in 223.
Good platform.
Yeah, and with a nice scope and everything, and it's just fun getting into the rifle stuff. And I'm not that good as pistol,
Me neither.
but I'm getting there. I'm trying, doing a lot of dry fire, especially around the last few years with COVID. So
Dry fire, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing during COVID when everything was closed up.
Yeah.
People were like, all right, what do I do? Round count was really low. Suddenly everyone's on kind of, all right, dry fire, that's a good way to practice. But then we see, well, it's a good way to practice, but it has limitations. What are your thoughts on what's the balance between dry firing and live firing?
So dry fire is really important, especially for like your basics, the draw. So you don't need to shoot if you're training your draw. But I always say you can prepare your training with the dry fire. So if you're thinking about your training, what you want to do, what you want to train, then do the dry fire for it, and then get into the shooting range and actually shoot, and don't have to bother around with like movement or stuff.
Exactly.
And then you can just like concentrate on the shooting.
And then once you're on the live firing range, you get into recoil management, and then suddenly you figure out, damn, I still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's good.
It
Would be boring if not.
It is, because you know what they say about shooting, right? Easy to learn, hard to master.
Yeah, it never ends.
Louis, thank you so much for taking the time to appear at the show. For all those viewers who are now interested in Gecco as a brand, how can Gecco support you with your shooting activities when it comes to different types of ammunition, from, for example, the DTX as a training brand or training cartridge rather, up to the premium competition brands like the Hexagon, which is also something I believe you shoot.
Yeah, I use it in the Bianchi Cup. It's famous. It's not that fast shooting like IPSC, but still really hard to master. And every IPSC shooter who misses his target, I say, learn Bianchi, because there you get the precision, and there the bullet counts. So there's the Hexagon is the perfect bullet for this.
So that was your piece of advice. If you aspire to become as big as Louis in this fast sports of IPSC, maybe you should also give Bianchi a try. Stay tuned for all the new products of the Gecco brand and everything it can do for you in the upcoming videos. Louis, again, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.